Hi everyone, welcome to another Core Unit Launchpad session. Today we're at number 22, and we are actually we have a session with the TechOps Core Unit. They've been a long time with the Maker Foundation back in the day, so their story with Maker goes for a long time, and now they are transitioning to the DAO as many others teams have done. So yeah, I don't want to steal anyone's thunder. So remember, if you want to ask any questions, you can write in the chat, and Peyton will read it for you, or you can also ask directly into the mic, and we'll be happy to have you. Without any further ado, Simon, Dimitri, if you want to take it away.
Thanks, Johan. Hello, everyone. Thanks for coming. Happy to be here. Very exciting times indeed. So we are TechOps Core Units, presenting to you by myself and Dimitri. So I will kick it off, and Dimitri will jump in towards the end. Please feel free to interrupt if you have any questions. Yeah, happy to discuss any points as we go along. So straight away, what is our mission? So there's a few definitions for the mission from organization to organization. We see it as basically this short description of the business that an organization is in. So ours is to provide technical support services to MakerDAO ecosystem stakeholders and liaison with external service providers, while ensuring the effectiveness, reliability, and security of the MakerDAO infrastructure layer. So there's a few big words there, but let's break it down over the next few slides and talk about what it means to us and how we're going to go about accomplishing it. So just as an overview of the areas we'll cover today, we'll have a look at the team of the potential future TechOps Core Unit division, around the strategy, how we're going to tackle some of the challenges that we identified as a team, the services we provide, and the budget that we proposed as part of our MIP as well. So this is the team we aspire to become. This is the real team. So you can find us on Discord with these icons. Dimitri and I are proposing to be the facilitators. So 2 facilitators to go with our no single point of failure setup, and covering multiple time zones as well. So Dimitri is in EU and myself in APAC, so around the clock. But starting with Christy, so we're all coming from the foundation originally, and most have done a few years with the project already. Christy is the newest member, so with the DevOps SRE background. For those who don't know, SRE is Site Reliability Engineering framework to basically manage the infrastructure and monitor it. He enjoys software-defined everything and zero trust security, and of course environmentally sustainable. Dimitri is our quality, well, he was quality assurance lead with the Maker Foundation, and he is responsible for the monitoring and alerting setup that we got going as well, which we can have a look a little bit later as well. So Jeanette is our US-based member. She's almost 3 years with the project. Will be coming up at the end of this month. So George, he was the technical team lead with the Maker Foundation and the former lead developer with the SIP Zex, I believe it's called. I think it's a voice over IP project. And he's a triathlete as well. He's got a very cool looking bike, I can confirm. So myself, again, yeah, DevOps SRE background, started as an original sysadmin, basically hosting the websites, and yeah, interested in everything open source, being active in the outdoors as well. So as mentioned before, we are distributed around the globe. At the moment, we have 3 EU members, 1 in the Americas, and myself is in the APAC. And we'll be looking to hire 2 more members throughout the next year, 1 in Americas and 1 in APAC as well, to further you know, failure proof and deliver services around the clock. So let's have a look at the vision now that we've come up with and outline, where we see us becoming as a TechOps Core Unit. So again, the definition of the vision is a little bit of a longer description than the mission, what an organization aspires to become. So we will be looking to passionately support secure, reliable, and transparent infrastructure in order to continue and improve MakerDAO's collaboration, agility, and resilience. So from there's kind of 2 themes develop. One is infrastructure and 1 collaboration. So let's look at those in a little bit more detail. So we're in the business of infrastructure engineering. That is, I guess you could say, our main product. So the infrastructure we deliver is reinforced by reliability, support, and transparency. Reliability is obvious. We strive for high service reliability, robust monitoring, and regular safe deployments. When it comes down to support, we provide 24/7 detection and incident response, high level of redundancy between critical components and the team itself, as we've seen previously. And transparency is something that we will be bringing to the core unit as well. So regularly informing stakeholders about the state of infrastructure, cost structure that's involved in running such infrastructure, and trade-offs involved in that as well. Now, the second theme being collaboration. So we always looking to improve communication and the flow of work between the stakeholders that we work with. And we facilitate education. So when other core units or existing ones come online, we are doing our best to educate them of the security best practices. We regularly review those and update with any new information. We serve as a point of contact, being first line of support for external researchers and Maker ecosystem participants as well. So we triage new requests coming in and deal with them accordingly. And then we worked on integration of the Maker components into other services as well, which we'll have a look in a little bit as well. So yeah, we basically maintain a list of scripts and recipes and look after and make it accessible to others. So that's the vision that we've identified. Of course, it doesn't come with without the challenges. These are the 4 main challenges that we see kind of standing in our way, but that we've ready to deal with day to day. So implementing secure self-service infrastructure is referring to striking the balance between maintaining necessary control to ensure secure operations, while at the same time giving stakeholders as much freedom as possible to maintain and control their infrastructure as well. So yeah, instead of us kind of helping people with every little request, we provide the framework and put in place where people can in the future help themselves. Incoming versus project work prioritization. So I think that's not only our team, it's always an issue, but we've identified as a challenge when completing internal project work, as well as incoming support tasks, and making tomorrow infrastructure and services better than today. Again, not just getting jobs done, but doing useful project work to improve things for the future. So team knowledge sharing and keeping up to date, being a 24/7 online team, spread geographically by design, of course. Communication naturally becomes a challenge, but we try to avoid knowledge silos and reduce the bias factor, making sure that on-duty team members are at any time sufficiently informed to help with incoming requests. We do that by conducting daily handover meetings. So when the person comes online, we'll inform them what they need to know. Collaboration and communication with the stakeholders. So as the number of projects increases, context switching really becomes a problem. So yeah, we realize that that's a challenge, and we deal with that day to day by keeping the timelines in sync and prioritizing projects. We will cover some of these solutions in the next few slides. All right, so we've devised a strategy that will outline a number of steps through which we will achieve the mission and vision, tackle or try to tackle the challenges described in the previous slide, and of course, grow the team culture necessary for the strategy to succeed. So this is a bit of a continuous improvement cycle that we will strive to follow. If you want to start at the plan stage in the top left and follow through, this will nicely outline our flow of work, and the artifact of that becomes improved collaboration and communication between the stakeholders that we deal with. Of course, that includes all the stakeholders of a MakerDAO ecosystem, not just technical core units. So let's have a look at each of those steps and break it down a little bit. So starting in the top left with the plan, this step, we mainly target challenges regarding knowledge sharing and incoming work prioritization, as we've seen in the challenges slide. So we make work visual with the sprint board, where we can instantly see the progress of any tasks within the team. This helps with knowledge sharing between the team and the ability to see what others are working on at all times. We do the usual sprint kind of cycle as other development teams, and that lets us reconsider and prioritize with the team and adjust the backlog as needed. And the progress of these gets reviewed at our daily follow the sun meetings, More critical work as it comes in gets reprioritized and put in the current sprint if necessary. So yeah, some of the things that that system brings to us is establishing clear priorities, limit work in progress. So again, that context switching, therefore improving quality of work, because you don't have to, it's been proven if you work on 10 different things, none of them going to come out very nicely. Conduct peer code reviews, so each code change goes through all the other team members that we introduce, and knowledge sharing sessions, of course, within the team, and we'd like to do those with other members of community as well. So moving on towards build, before service gets built, and we need infrastructure to support it. So there's where we came in, basically. We do infrastructure as code. So this is a idea where all the infrastructure components are set up, written in code, basically, where we're able to store usable components under version control, and which allows us to standardize our deployments, improving reliability and stability of the infrastructure, but also greatly improves knowledge sharing within the team and outside, because now we're able to open source those components as well, which is something we'll be looking to do more next year. So yeah, you can imagine you don't have to do manual tasks every time you need to do a change. Instead, you write that in code and then execute that code, and infrastructure components get provisioned. So that brings us these three main benefits. It's easy to understand and share with others, simple, fast, and easy, and safe, most important to upgrade, and we get fast feedback from problems as well. So now that we have the infrastructure, we are ready to build services, apps on top of that. We assist some of the technical core units with developing and deploying this software, and we do that with continuous delivery method of building the software. So this is the simple kind of sequence of a software delivery cycle that we automate through that. So yeah, as I said before, we work with other core units to provide them with service delivery pipelines to build their code from their repositories and deploy that software to the infrastructure that we manage. This automated process allows a developer hands-off software delivery in small batches and to deploy new changes automatically, of course, leading to high quality software, faster feedback from the tests and the user as well. Again, this framework applies to the infrastructure that we deliver and support. As we've seen before, infrastructure is managed with code. So this pipeline deploys our infrastructure and reaps all the benefits that mentioned previously. So yeah, a boring, safe, self-service kind of deployments that we monitor and deploy software online safely. Moving on. So now that we've deployed software online, of course, we need to monitor it to make sure that it's operating reliably and it's doing what it's meant to. We have a monitoring system set up in place that brings these 4 main benefits to us as well. So not only it allows us to know if any particular service is on and operating as intended, also it allows us to understand the performance of any system and services under our control. Monitoring gives us an insights throughout our systems, from high-level overviews down to critical service components that are crucial for debugging. Full set of monitoring tools not only includes metrics, but also logs and dashboards that we're going to see at a few in a bit. Dashboards are particularly useful for knowledge sharing and transparency within the team and outside. And of course, we need alerting to let us know if there's any issue. 24/7 support team is there to triage an incident and coordinate request as it comes in. So moving along, after the monitoring, we have the continuous feedback. So we will be looking at 2 sources mainly for the feedback. Of course, from the community, we're looking to set up regular meetings for a chance to hear from the stakeholders with any feedback that we will feed back into the continuous cycle and collect feedback. And of course, the systems that we run produce various metrics and logs that we will be constantly analyzing and feeding it back into as well to improve the whole cycle. And the whole process repeats. Of course, we're aware that both strategy and the culture will evolve in response to the always changing environment in our crazy industry, but we will ensure that both will support each other to achieve the mission and vision. So let's have a look at the real brass tacks. Now, the budget. So obviously, all of this is available in our MIP on forums. So please, if you need more detail, we spent a lot of time making sure everything is right there. But I can take you guys through line by line briefly. So these are monthly and quarterly figures. Annually is available on the forum as well. Starting at the top, people cost is the biggest costs, as in any organization, as far as I know. So we have compensation. By the way, this is a prospective team for next year. So right now we are at 6 people at 4.2 FTE, full-time employee. And next year we'll be looking to hire 3 more at 5.7 FTE. So that is a compensation for 5.7 FTE for next year. Other people costs, as you can see, the little asterisks, that is a cost factor. We are starting a new venture, so costs like benefits, taxes, fees, and so on might creep up. So that is scaled by 25%. The second biggest costs after people are infrastructure and tools. So yes, that is reflected there. We deal with a number of cloud providers and always looking to expand. So that cost reflected there. Vulcanized DB projects, infrastructure and consulting. So there's a description on the MIP. Vulcanized DB is the caching, Ethereum caching database that is a dependency for a number of projects in our ecosystem. So we need to support that as well. Tools, third-party services that we rely on and pay. So there's a number of other line items. So R&D and proof of concept. R&D stands for research and development. So as systems evolve and new solutions come to surface, engineers will need to keep up to date. This is reflected in the conferences and education, but also, in our industry, you learn by doing. So this will look after some of the environments that an engineer might need to provision, play around and learn a system, and then potentially incorporate that into a production environment. So yeah, kind of related to the infrastructure, but we are highlighting it here separately. Again, this is a budget cap, as states here. It doesn't mean that we will be spending all of these numbers as they come in. We will reevaluate the cap that we got, top up, and return the unspent to the protocol. So moving on, DAO third-party integrations. As mentioned previously, we work with a number of projects where we integrate MakerDAO components into their tools. Further support protocols, daily operations, and to spread the load as well. So audits not only related to smart contracts, audits are also healthy for the infrastructure as well. So next year we might reach out to a professional third party to look over our infrastructure, and never enough eyes, for the security. Again, this is a new venture, so accounting, recruiting, and legal consultancy fees are all pretty standard. Travel budget and conferences, again, we all know how crucial conferences are to meet like-minded engineers in the space. And also, if one of our team members would like to present something that they've been working on, it's also encouraged as well. Hardware as well, optional for new hires. We might need to use this line item mainly for tests. So with Ethereum 2 around the corner, we might need some specialized hardware to test some of the nodes locally. And contingency representing 5% of the total budget cap. That is pretty standard. So again, any questions, feel free to let me know. Again, MKR incentive, as we've seen with the other core units, we've support and followed the SES MKR budget structure, representing a 3-year vesting plan with 1-year cliff vest. This is the estimation for the 4.2 current full-time employees. More details available on the MIP. On average, this will be around 76 MKR per year per FTE. Again, pretty standard, reflecting fair SES MKR budget structure to encourage current team members and future to stick around. For the start date, we decided to go with the submission of the MIP for the RFC, which is December 8th. So moving on to services. These are kind of the areas that we mainly work with. So infrastructure hosting is our main product, you can say. We host critical maker components and infrastructure for other core units. Again, more details available on the MIP. We put a lot of time into that. Monitoring and alerting, so dashboards, responses, and reports that are sitting on top of the infrastructure we host. 24/7 follow the sun support, always available team, development and QA. So we can help with infrastructure design, CI/CD pipeline design, any kind of staging environments and production provisioning. Tools administration, so third-party services, administration and management. So just a few examples for the infrastructure, what we mean by infrastructure hosting. So for example, Ethereum nodes. Ethereum is made up of a network of nodes, so we host some of them. We automatically provision those, upgrade them, and they require constant monitoring, so we do that. Moving on, we work with Oracle Core Unit to participate in their decentralized Oracle network. So we host a few nodes, we monitor those, and do upgrades and collateral onboardings as well when that happens. And make a keepers as well. For those who don't know, a keeper is the little service that constantly triggers some of the operations that Maker protocol requires from time to time. So we host a number of those, and the plan is to standardize and open source some of that so other players in the ecosystem can do so themselves. I believe Dimitru.
Yeah, so now it's my part starts. So hello everyone, I'm Dimitru. As you know, I'm applying for a second facilitator role in the TechOps Core Unit. And yeah, I wanted to present something that we built. So what you see on your screens is analytics tools where we send data, and specifically this slide is about collateral prices, and it shows current and queued price for Oracle. So if there is a deviation above a certain threshold for any of the collaterals, we are notified, and we have a good collaboration with the Oracle's Oracle's team now, where we also notified them about that because they need to be aware. So yeah, all collaterals have this kind of analytics data, and with the growing number of collateral types, yeah, this is the dashboard is increasing and becoming bigger. And yeah, if you can go to the next slide, Simon, please. Yeah, so these are Oracle's Oracle Feeds dashboard, another dashboard built in these analytics tools that shows the feeds, how they are reporting. And yeah, this is mainly done to to monitor and ensure that all the feeds are reporting correctly and the functionality is correct. And then if there is below 60, below specific limit of the feeds that are reporting, we are notified about that. Yeah, so this is kind of a health dashboard of the Oracle feeds. And yeah, next slide, please. Yes. Yeah, the liquidations dashboard, a third thing that we build, and it the main thing it reports is yeah, amount of DAI that is needed to liquidate on the next OSM price. So if it's again above a specific certain limit, then we are notifying correspondent team members and also other teams about that. And yeah, next slide, please. So what now interesting part is what happens when yeah, when something bad happens. So we build this alerting tool. We are using the alerting tool to notify us and team members, and based on the criticality of the alerts. We split them into 3 different priorities, where priority 1 is something where we need to react immediately, something that wakes us up, and priority 2 is kind of mid-critical alerts, where we have some time to investigate and basically give a response about the reason of the alert. And priority 3 alerts is something that is not critical, and we look at it whenever we have time. So yeah, based on these 3 priorities, we build this alerting tool that notifies us. We have specific on-call schedules where we make sure that at least 2 team members are always on and looking at everything, that everything is working properly. And yeah, in case something happens according to the rules, we are notified using different means like phone calls, phone alert, mobile notifications coming from the app, or SMS messages or emails if something is not very critical. So yeah, we are monitoring many parts of infrastructure, many projects and parts of the Maker ecosystem. I think the latest figures is around 200 monitoring tests or monitoring checks that we are doing constantly 24/7. And yeah, again, based on the criticality, we run them either more or less frequent. But yeah, everything is done constantly on different environments as well. So we have also the tests running on staging test environments, and everything is running in production as well. So yeah, this is something that we built in the last couple of years, and have big plans in extending it more. Yeah, so I believe this is everything, and maybe back to you, Simon.
Thanks, Dimitri. And believe it or not, us being a development team, it's very hard to find visual examples of our work. So we've chose a few of those, something to show you, but there's a lot more. So yeah, thank you guys. There's our Discord forum tagged for our core units. The MIPS are in RFC right now. So if you have any questions, concerns, please reach out to us with any of your comments and questions. So I believe there's a week or so before formal submission at the end of the month. So we will be going ahead with that. And yeah,
Simon, I see there are a few questions in the chat. If I may answer them before we end. Yeah, so I see a question coming from Walter about how often are we testing tail end monitoring and alerting events that almost never happen. Yeah, so how often are we testing them? The monitoring system that we build is again based on the criticality. It runs the test either more or less frequent. So for very critical scenarios like emergency shutdown triggered or things like that that affect the whole Maker ecosystem. They run every 5 minutes, I believe, these checks. And yeah, so if anything happens, it notifies us immediately or close to immediately. How do we verify it? We have some processes around verifying that the actual monitoring tests that they are performing correctly, that they are running, and verifying what they need to verify. We have monthly meetings where we meet and actually test the monitoring system that we built for high critical scenarios like emergency shutdown triggered or some movements of MKR between HAT and other proposals. So yeah, something like that. But we try to always verify them and yeah, rely on different tools when we verify these high criticality scenarios, so that we have kind of main check, the main tool that does the check, and also backup tool that kind of verifies the same thing. So if something goes down in the first tool, then we have a backup that will notify us, and that really helped us in the past, because we had some cases where we got notifications from the backup backup monitoring tools. Yeah, and then second question from Frank with regards to alerts and PagerDuty, thoughts about building a PNS tool, perhaps a burner email to alert MKR token folks.
I think I can respond.
Yeah, George.
So for related to ePNS, we know that the governance in the DAX team, they are looking to integrate such. Definitely something on our list. Lately we focused on the notifications that we provide on the channels like Discord, but yeah, we'll look into expanding that to other communications channels like ePNS. Not sure exactly about the email, because that means like retaining data. So there are some aspects that needs to be considered before adding new channels in that.
Yeah, but definitely, as George said, we try to do it in a transparent way. And actually, this week we introduced some new notifications in the Community Maker Discord, so that the community is aware about different events like MKR liquidity alert, for example, that has been added last Friday. But we also try to add some more things, notifications to be sent to the community. And if you feel like you have ideas about the way the community should receive these kind of notifications, feel free to reach us. But as the main source, we think Discord works for now. But yeah, we can also send it to other channels if community decides to do so.
Yeah, another way is like we can onboard like delegates as per Walter's point, but we can onboard them into the PagerDuty system, so they could receive directly the notifications, like in real-time notifications on phone and other devices. But yes, something that we have to we have to elaborate on, and that's related to the second point that you said, the describing how we manage incidents. So maybe you can talk about that, starting from notifications to solving the issue.
Yes, so for notifications, how do we react on incidents? We have for each for each alert, we have a procedure of how to fix it, or how we think that it should be fixed, because yeah, this monitoring is built on specific scenarios that we know, like what usually happens and how to fix it. For some high criticality alerts or scenarios, we have templates that describe the whole way of managing the incidents, and that is again some critical things like emergency shutdown triggered, or yeah, circuit breaker triggered, or things like that. So that affects everyone in the Maker ecosystem. So yeah, for these things we have a big templates with the list of people that should be involved in resolving the incident, and also with the specific list of actions that everyone is doing, and with the specific timestamp and order and details of what, who does what, because some usually when these incidents happen, we don't have time to think a lot on what we need to do. We have to follow specific order of actions and do it very quickly, and sometimes we even involve we need to involve like marketing department or legal department about some actions that they need to do. Yeah, so something like that. And
I think
yeah, if you feel like we need to
question.
So I think Pros had another question, or at least he has his hand up.
Thank you. I was going to hop in and kind of ask real briefly about prioritization within like core unit requests. Like I know from us at GoValve, you guys are really responsive and really help us get things out quick. But obviously, as we get more and more core units, kind of curious if you thought about how you will be prioritizing requests between them.
Yeah, we actually thought about that, and that indeed that becomes a kind of a problem. Because in the past there were not so many requests, and we tried to execute them instantly or close to instantly, because we felt like doing everything quickly we can manage that. But with the growing number of core units, of community members and other actors, we kind of introduced a new way of managing these requests. So we right now we try to create a ticket in our dashboard, dashboard, where we put it in the backlog, and depending on priority, we execute it in a specific order. So if there is some like high criticality request that needs to be done instantly, of course it will be done. But otherwise, it's put in the backlog, and as soon as we have time for the request, we will execute it.
Would there be a way to get like a public list essentially for core unit requests? Like I know obviously you guys deal with sensitive stuff, but just in terms of letting the community know where things fall in the pipeline.
Yeah, absolutely. We thought about that as well, and right now we are getting requests through the Discord. We have a TechOps request channel, but we thought that this is not very scalable, and we need a way to get requests in a kind of hidden way, so that people report or ask questions without everyone else seeing them, and also yeah, a way to get this kind of requests. So yeah, most probably that process will change in the future, but yeah, we don't have any details yet. But again, yeah, this is something that will happen once we have a core unit created.
It might just have to
Related
be
to that-
on case by case basis. Pros, when a ticket comes in, you'll get updated on it straight away, you know, instead of the whole queue overlook. But yeah, we're looking at various systems and how to improve it.
I wanted to ask, related to Pro's question, how do you guys, like right now the budget you're getting, it's mainly from the DAO to service other core units needs. So how do you manage since you're not asking for a budget, how do you prevent like I don't know, some low priority core unit coming and saying, I need 3 full archive nodes and I'm not going to even use them, or some crazy request without charging for a budget? So in that sense, how do you or how do you prioritize? It's a bit going back to that, since the aspect of money is that the DAO is paying for all these services almost for free for the core units to use.
So the number one priority is critical Maker infrastructure, and that is only. It is up to the core unit to go in the discussions with that core unit and identify whether the infrastructure is critical or not. We do have a TechOps entity as well outside of the foundation as well. So if the core unit likes our work and wants to work with us, they can approach us that way. But we've also discussed to have some kind of a basic package for every core unit that we can support them with. But as you say, if they're asking for 5 Ethereum nodes, of course, you got to remember that we don't run free infrastructure behind the scenes. We still pay for it. So that money needs to come from somewhere. So yes, yeah. So basic package for every core unit, and the entity outside of the project that a core unit can work with.
So maybe a bit following on Wouter's question, like what's the basic package of infrastructure, and where do you draw the line? Like just one more server or one more, etc. Like where do you stop?
Yeah, the basic package hasn't been defined as just yeah, the ideas that have been floating around. Again, how do you define what's critical or not? It will be case by case basis. We've outlined some of the critical components in the MIP. But yes, it will have to be a discussion if it's critical or not. Again, if the protocol needs it and the community decides that it is a critical infrastructure, then we'll have to scale the resources, and the budget will reflect that accordingly as well. So we're here to help the protocol. We are here to grow the team accordingly. Yeah.
Can I expand on that a little bit?
Go for it.
So one of the things that we've
maybe
done as
sorry, Janet, maybe you introduce yourself first.
Oh, yeah.
People might not know.
So I'm Jeanette Rigger, and I'm DevOps engineer, and my video is not coming on right now, so you just have to do without my video. I look just like the picture in the icon over there. Anyhow, so I wanted to expand on that. When we did the migrations, there were a lot of infrastructure that was moved with core units, and they had included their infrastructure costs as part of their own core unit budget, and us as TechOps have been helping manage that, right? So the developers are not expected to know all of the ins and outs of infrastructure and the CI/CD and things like that. So we're there to help them, and that has also worked, where the core units include the infrastructure as part of their own budget because it's part of their own project. That's it.
Yes, good point.
Thank you, Jeanette. Do you have any other questions from the audience?
Yeah, real quickly, I know you're scaling to 7, I believe you said 7 or 9 employees. So I was wondering, what's your strategy to onboarding the extra 3, 4, 5 folks? And how do you deal with, and I did ask this at the forum, with regards to burnout, but how do you make adjustments in team size, especially with the work times? And I'm pretty sure you guys are working long hours. So if you get like an ad hoc request, how do you deal with that? And I guess more importantly, how are you going to recruit those extra 3, 4, 5 humans?
So the onboarding procedure is pretty standard in the industry. We try to document as much as possible, and all of the components that we manage. So we have the knowledge sharing database that we keep up to date. So we'll just basically throw that at them and get them to read it. No. Regular onboarding meetings, infrastructure being managed as code. It's relatively easy to get the new person to start working on something small, start looking over the code base, and then review their changes. Again, regular meetings, knowledge sharing meetings. Those are pretty basic. We have development environments set up where they can play around without touching the production. So.
And do you have a public roadmap?
Yes. So regarding the roadmap, as we're more of a service core unit, we decided to not to write up the roadmap, as our work kind of depends on the work coming in and ongoing support that we provide. So we've outlined a number of items in the research and development and ongoing work for next year. So you can use that as the roadmap.
Yeah, I want to intervene here a little. So one of the main points, and probably the first point in our roadmap, is to externalize and to make open source all the monitoring and all the parts that we developed within the Maker Foundation, because right now it's opaque, it's not transparent for the outside. So we have many dashboards that show the health of the system, and code to assess the system and so on. So in our vision, that would be one of the first priorities, to make that public and to put that in hands of any developer or anyone that wants to run and assess the protocols healthy. Also, to this point, integration with Forta is also important for us, because we want to make this in a decentralized way. We want to accommodate all the alarms, or almost all the monitoring that we have in place in this decentralized framework. So we are working with the Forta guys to to accomplish this. So again, openness is one of the first points in our roadmap, and I think one of the most important ones.
Yeah, totally. I would love to see the roadmap, especially if you can give us an idea of decentralization, right? Really excited about that and getting some of that infrastructure decentralized. And yeah, I think the community needs that. We need to see like a roadmap to what exactly the goals are. Even if you're late, you know, a month or two, whatever, at least we have something, right? So thank you for the presentation and the answer. Thanks.
Yeah, and there is another aspect to that. So the ongoing services, they indeed do not have a roadmap, right? Because it is making sure that the services keep up and running, they are up to date. But of course, for that part of the job, there's KPIs, there's metrics that are tracked to measure the quality, and there are goals in that regard. The roadmap part for TechOps, I believe, will mostly be the proof of concept and the R&D part, right? So there is a little bit of budget for that. And then the second thing, maybe major rollouts of updates following the wider DAO roadmap. So for example, L2 infrastructure, the ETH2 infrastructure, etc. But this is dependent on what the rest of the DAO and the ecosystem is delivering. But these are major updates, right? And maybe last question about these metrics. I believe you guys have a status page today. Are there any metrics you're tracking to quantify the work that is being done?
Yeah, we do have a status page for MakerDAO, and yeah, we verify multiple systems, so you can see the uptime of many systems. But we also, the specific things we measure is Vulcanize DB, the external partner for MCD events that we rely on. So yeah, this is something that you can see and verify historical data for it. And this is already available externally to anyone.
All right. So you already mentioned where can people find you. Hopefully we don't hear much about this group. That means that things are probably not burning down. Yeah, anything else that that you would like to mention before closing the call?
Just to add to the Huerta's question, of course, there's a number of things that we can track, and industry accepted metrics are, so mean time to failure, mean time to recovery. From SRE, we get SLOs, so service level objective and service level indicators. So yeah, that's another thing is always on the roadmap, basically, to always improve the monitoring, always improve the signals that we manage and act accordingly. Yeah, that is just part of the job. Thank you for great questions, everyone.
Thank you, guys. And yeah, Dimitri just shared on the chat MakerDAO.statuspage.io, which is a nice dashboard of the different services and tracking them online. But yeah, again, we'll potentially see this MIP set going into formal submission for the next cycle. If anyone watching later has any questions or any feedback, feel free to post it in the forum. That's forum.makerdao.com. And yeah, let's keep the conversation going. Thank you everyone for joining.
Thanks, Juan.
Have a nice one.